Are you one of us who don't understand why Nancy Pelosi announced what seems to be a crazy idea of visiting Taiwan? This may help explain that. Nancy Pelosi and her husband, Paul Pelosi, may be implicated in insider trading violations and, frankly, criminal acts, making millions of dollars in stock market trades which were impossible without inside intelligence that is only available to Pelosi as Speaker of the House. This revelation compounds the bad press on the Pelosi's following the recent charge of Mr. Pelosi with drunk driving. The drunk driving charge looks bad politically, but insider trading is far more serious, and Nancy Pelosi knows that. For this reason, Pelosi has done what all politicians do. She's staging a huge diversion to keep the news headlines on other topics. Pelosi knows that to even announce a visit to Taiwan, she could be provoking nuclear war and causing impossible geopolitical problems, which will consume the media and cause the insider trading issue to fade from the front pages of our news services. This announcement of a visit to Taiwan can not possibly lead to any good outcome. She has assured herself that media attention will be diverted from her alleged crimes to her senseless and dangerous intention to visit Taiwan during a time when China has stated that they will not permit that. There is no valid reason for Pelosi to go to Taiwan other than to divert the media from perhaps some criminal insider trading. If she does visit Taiwan, she will force China into a major response and retaliation, which could include acts of war. If she gives in to the obvious political pressure to cancel the visit, she will be signaling Taiwan and China that we are not committed to the support of Taiwan, which incidentally is the source of electronic components which are critical to the U.S. military and the U.S. economy as a whole. If Taiwan is allowed to fall to China, the U.S. will be unable to obtain technology critical to the function of the military and the general economy. Nancy Pelosi is putting all of that at risk. Due to the massive geopolitical implications of Pelosi's announced visit, the U.S. has been forced to commit billions of dollars worth of military flotillas and security resources, including the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier, in order to provide security for the visit. This may be the most expensive security escort for such a visit in the history of our country. The term provide security is possibly misleading. There is nothing secure about taking major U.S. military resources and driving them toward Taiwan as some kind of threat to allow our House Speaker to perform a compulsive stunt to protect her and her husband from justice. For Pelosi to actually need to visit, of all places in the world, Taiwan, there would have to be some kind of crisis in Taiwan, which could only be resolved with top-level political diplomacy and which was important enough to risk major confrontation with China and the CCP. There is no such crisis in Taiwan. Pelosi is attempting very poorly conceived political theater for the purpose of media manipulation. Pelosi is consuming huge taxpayer resources in order to cover her hide and evade consequences of her family's actions. So why would Nancy Pelosi resort to such a desperate and dangerous stunt? She is running for re-election this year. She must have a major diversion. The bad press of the DUI and the insider trading are more than enough to put her on the outs with the voting public, who are already disgusted with bad public policy decisions which have led to runaway inflation, shortages of food and merchandise, increased private debt, and economic recession that Pelosi and most of our elected officials are feebly trying to redefine as not a recession. But this is clear. Nancy Pelosi is not reducing tensions with China, is not providing any helpful diplomacy to Taiwan, and she is walking through a minefield she has created for herself by enriching herself with questionable stock trading and forcing a major geopolitical crisis with China. It's hard to imagine how this will be having Pelosi looking good for the November election, especially since her bungling moves could easily trigger a nuclear war. This is a huge gamble for Pelosi to go all in and raise the stakes so high that her personal transgressions become a faint noise in the background. It is hard to imagine, no matter how this comes out, that it would help Pelosi's chances of re-election in November.